Coming to you live from Music City, USA, aka Nashville, Tennessee. This is the ALLAnal podcast with Sebastian Starr. I am your host, Sebastian Starr, and today I am going to be discussing the most recent horror film that I have gone to see. It'll be added into the slasher subgenre of horror films, Clown in a Cornfield. Now, I want to start this off explicitly by saying I had no real intentions of going to go see this movie. I was not interested in it. I saw the trailers. The plot didn't wow me. It didn't ooh and ah. I wasn't in suspense. It wasn't anything that I had any real interest in going to go see. But the same weekend that my brother and I went to go see Hurry Up Tomorrow, he was like, oh, I want to go see Clown in a Cornfield. And I was like, okay, let's just go see it. So we went to go see the movie right afterwards. And you missed maybe up the first, 5-10 minutes. So we didn't really miss a whole lot. But we get in, again, I have no expectations for this movie whatsoever. I'm just hoping that it's going to be good and scary, nice and thrilling, very suspenseful, and that the plot and the storyline is decent enough to where I can take something away from it. What I got was a dumpster fire of horror movie cliches to the point where it was so over-exaggerated and ridiculous that it could have passed for a parody of a slasher movie. It could have gone into the subgenre of horror comedies like, not Scream, but like Scary Movie or anything like that, anything in that realm. It was so not good that I couldn't take it seriously. And the difference, in my opinion, that I believe between a movie like, say, Scary Movie and Clown in a Cornfield is that Scary Movie is intended to not be taken seriously. It is supposed to make you laugh. It is supposed to be funny. It is supposed to be so comically over-exaggerated and over-dramatized and over the top in every facet and form that you take joy out of watching, that you take joy when you watch it. Like the experience of having that movie come on and recognizing the references that they make to like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer and anything else they were making fun of actively in that movie is the whole point. So for you to have a movie like Clown in a Cornfield that isn't supposed to be funny, but it is supposed to be authentically a horror flick, a slasher movie, and to have these exact same elements tie into it that you would get from a Scream, I keep saying Scream, that you would get from a Scary Movie is absolutely ridiculous. But obviously spoilers ahead, and this is just my opinion. I'm obviously not a horror movie fanatic. I actually didn't even get into watching real deal horror movies until a couple of years ago. And slashers were never on my list of horror movies to watch. I like supernatural horror movies. I like the Quiet as Kept horror movies. I like the home invasion horror movies, like The Strangers, or like the Nun as far as supernatural goes. Like the Conjuring series is probably my favorite as far as horror movies go because they're actually fucking scary. They actually make me scared as shit. And the last slasher movie that I saw was the movie Thanksgiving that came out on Netflix last year. And again, it's a slasher flick, but it's a scary movie. So I'm watching it with the anticipation to at least be scared. That movie, in regards to what I understand slasher movies to be, did everything correct. It set up the foundation of the whodunit in slasher flicks, because you always have to figure out who the killer is, right? That's the whole point and premise. It set up a great foundation, a fantastic village and origin story for at least 3 of the characters. So at least 3 of these people are suspects. The death scenes were very articulate and well thought out. They, gave you a sense of gore that was unsettling and hard to watch the way that they're supposed to be. The plot twist, I'm not going to go into Thanksgiving, obviously, but the plot twist was great. I love a good plot twist, and it had a fantastic one. It's a seasonal movie, which a lot of movies around the seasons, you're watching for that time period for a reason. And this one is surrounding Thanksgiving, which there are very few Thanksgiving films in general. So to have a horror film set around the time of Thanksgiving was chef's kiss, perfect. I absolutely appreciated that as well. And everything about it was just good. But this movie was so disappointing that I couldn't even fathom what I had just watched. So let's just dive into it. And again, this is heavy spoilers, obviously. Please take heed if you want to go see this movie. I do not want to ruin it for you. And I want to, with that, I want to say this. I didn't hate it. I didn't absolutely hate it. I just did not think, of course I would go see it again. Obviously I would go see it again. But laughably, like I'm watching it to get a laugh. And like I would get high as hell and go see this movie and just be laughing my ass off. Like it's not scary at all. So let's just dive into it. Again, we were a couple of minutes late. We had just gone out of Hurry Up Tomorrow. And we just, on a whim, went to go see Clown on Cornfield. So we missed like the first 10 minutes. The first kill, I believe, is what we missed. We get into the theater. It's the main character. She's driving with her dad to this new city. And it gave very much The Craft, like in the beginning of The Craft when they're moving to a different part of the city. And they're driving in the car and they get inside the house and it's all kind of eerie and spooky and still. But in this case, in Clown in the Cornfield's case, the daughter, and I can't remember nobody's name, so please excuse me. The daughter goes to investigate a bad smell that's coming from the fireplace. And I'm thinking to myself, her dad is standing right behind her. Why the fuck isn't he going to investigate? Why is he sending his 17-year-old daughter to go over there and poke around and shit? So that was already red flag number one. I wasn't feeling that at all. I said, this is gonna be fucking stupid. And the whole time we watching it, my brother is sitting next to me and he's just like, bro, whenever you're ready to go, we can go. I said, okay. But at some point I did find myself becoming invested in the story. I wanted to know what happened. But more so than that, they start introducing characters very, very quickly. So we have the daughter, we have her father. He's like a doctor who moved into this small town to kind of help with the hospital and the clinic. They don't have a town doctor anymore. It's like a population of like 2,000 people. So itty bitty small town vibes here, right? The neighbor who comes out of fucking nowhere, knocking on their door. Oh, I just saw that you guys moved in and I wanted to know if she needed an escort to school. First of all, I don't fucking know you. Second of all, you're tall as shit and wide as fuck for no goddamn reason. And third of all, you're looking around very suspiciously. It was like he was too suspicious. But he just ended up being like the outcast, the black sheep, the loner. So that was his whole thing. So he ended up being pretty cool. We get to the school. She gets to her class. Her first class that she's late to, the teacher is an absolute dick. He is extremely mean for literally no reason, to the point where every single student in the class is just an asshole towards him. But that's just because he's mean as shit. So, and then another thing that blew me was at this point when she's in the class and she's taking her seat, these are supposed to be high school, like juniors and seniors. This is supposed to be like 16, 17, 18-year-old teenagers. The girl that she sits next to looks like she's at least 42. Like she looks like a mother of three who works in like an office finance or like as a receptionist in a library. Like she looks like an old woman. That is the student sitting right next to her. She looks like she's in her fucking 40s. And I'm looking like, what the hell is she doing in there? And then we get introduced to the cool kids. There's a bunch of cool kids. There's, of course, the dumb blonde who's kind of like a bimbo, but she's really like rich and pretty. There's the light-skinned girl who's dating like the jockey white guy who's like way too tall and way too buff and way too big to be a high school senior. Yeah, kind of the cool, like nonchalant white guy with like the curly brown hair and the oversized jackets. And then you got the token black friend who is like this dark-skinned dude who is he's in a fucking cornball. Like he's the wackest nigga in the group with the dark-skinned dude. And it's just like, bro, what the fuck what game are we playing? What is happening here? So fast forward, and by the way, this entire movie took place over the span of like 3 days. So they just moved in. The main character and her dad just moved into this town. They just got here. And over the course of, I shit you not, like 3 days, all of this shit takes place. It's happening very, very quickly. So the first night, they take the new girl out and they are like, "Ooh, let's go and show her what we do." So they make prank videos on the internet. Of course, they're small town kids. They're bored. They don't have anything to do. So they just make prank videos. And the town is notorious for this corn syrup factory called Bay Pen. And the cool guy in the group, his like grandfather like founded the company and all of this shit. So he's kind of like locally famous. His dad is like a real big important guy. They all come from money, but it's like old money from like the town and shit. And so they were explaining that to her, and they ended up pranking her and putting her in one of their videos where they pretend that one of these clown people are going to come alive and go crazy and kill everybody. Because they literally don't have anything else to do. Like, what the fuck else is there to do in a small town whose mascot is this creepy ass clown? You know what I'm saying? I would have been doing the same thing. No bullshit. So they prank the girl. They go home. She gets in trouble because she snuck out and she got drunk and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, whatever. And then, of course, the first night, the black kid gets killed. No fucking surprise there that the black kid is the first one killed, because again, it is oversaturated with horror movie cliches. So of course the black character has to die first, and it's so predictable that it almost made me upset, because like I already knew what was going to happen before it happened. And with the exception, like half of the plot twist, it's not like a big surprise that comes at the end, but it just led to more confusion. So let me just keep diving into it. So he dies. The next day, his name is Tucker. I do remember his name. The black kid's name was Tucker. They were like, "Oh my God, where is Tucker? He's not replying to any of my phone calls and any of my text messages." No fucking shit, he's fucking dead. So so the next day is like the little town like fair or something. It's like a parade or some shit. And all the cool kids are there. They meet up with the new girl and they're like, "We can't find Tucker, but him and the other dude, the jock dude, are probably trying to plan a prank. So just keep your eye out for it." The two girls, the light-skinned girl and the blonde girl, they wander off, leaving the cool dude and the main character to kind of parlay with each other. He picks her up on his shoulders and says, "Hey, I'm throwing a party tomorrow night after the festival's over. You're more than welcome to come. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Oh, but my dad is still so angry at you for having me out so late last night," and blah, 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 blah. And you learn from a conversation that they've had previously that the main character's mom had passed away, and it kind of sent her dad into an emotional, mental spiral and breakdown. So that's why he left his big city doctor job and moved to this small town doctor job to kind of help clear his head a little bit, help restart. And then the cool guy, remember his family started the corn syrup company. They were doing a prank video like a year prior to all of this, and the factory burned down. A lot of people lost their jobs, and it kind of branded that group with this sour reputation of being troublemakers. So no one in the town really trusts them or really believes them when they say that something's wrong, because it could just be another prank video. Basically a boy who cried wolf situation. So we learned all of that from the previous conversation. They're kind of re-talking about that now. You see the big buff jock dude on a unicycle juggling like smoke bombs. He gets chased by the police. One of the smoke bombs lands into a float on the parade and it catches on fire and a lot of people get hurt. Then everybody in that little group gets arrested. All of them get arrested, including the new girl. And her dad comes by the police station to pick her up, and he's just like, "Didn't we tell you to stay away from those kids? Those kids were trouble, blah, blah, blah." "But Dad, we didn't even do anything. It wasn't even a fault." And it's just like, bro, what the fuck is going on? Why are you defending this group of delinquents that you just met 24 hours ago? Like, what the fuck is really happening here? And then he picks her up in a car that's a stick shift, and she was like, "Whose car is this?" And he was like, "Well, it was going to be yours. I was going to teach you how to drive, but you done fucked that up by getting yourself arrested. So I guess it's my car now." Whatever. That comes in to play later. So just remember the stick shift part. So fast forward again, the jock dude is back at his house. He didn't get arrested because he fled the scene. And he's working out. Oh, one more thing that I forgot. Right before Tucker, the token black kid, and his name is Tucker. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Right before he gets killed, he finds a jack-in-the-box with a little clown in it. And that's kind of like the telltale sign that somebody's about to die when they find this little box. So the jock dude finds his little box while he's working out in his garage. And it's the most over-exaggerated, like, working out. He's doing unnecessary grunting. He ain't even got a lot of heavy weights on his little barbell or whatever the fuck. He's just doing shit. So the clown that killed Tucker snuck into his house and, like, slashed him with, like, a machete or an axe, some kind of knife thing. Wrapped his body up in plastic, carried him out of the house. Which I was thinking, where the fuck are his parents at? That he just walking around his, you know what I mean? Like, where the fuck are your mom and dad? So that was how Tucker died. The jock dude dies. He's working on the dumbbells. He sees the person in the clown costume. He thinks that it's Tucker. And is like, oh, dude, you're so funny. Ha, ha, ha. The clown takes a saw that you cut up wood with and attaches it to the barbell that the guy is actively pushing up and just slams it down. And I guess you can argue with the weight of the weights on the barbell, it was enough force to decapitate this nigga. But the way that it was presented was the corniest fucking, I swear to God, like, every time the clown killed somebody and they would start walking off, you hear their little shoes do the little clown squeak, and it's just like, bro, what are we watching? What is this? And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So the kill scenes weren't even that fucking scary. They were so fucking corny. Like, no pun intended, it was a corny ass movie, right? So it's later on that night. They sneak out to go to the fucking party, which, again, this girl she got detention for being late for her class. That's how she met all the cool kids, because they all got detention together. So she got detention. She gets arrested at the fucking parade with the same group of kids that got her in trouble on her first day of school. And now she's about to sneak out of her house to go to a party with them. It's her second night in the fucking town, and you're already doing shit. You're already doing shit that you're not even supposed to be doing. So she goes to the party, and it's a lot more black kids in this town than I was led to believe. It's not a lot of black adults, but there's a lot of black kids. And they get inside, they get the dancing, drinking, having a good time, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. They still can't find Tucker, and they still can't find the jockey white dude, and they're convinced that the two of them are about to come together and pull a prank on the entire party, because that's what they do. So the cool kid and the new girl sneak off somewhere. They go to, like, a make-out session in, like, an old shed or some shit like that. And I must have blinked because I missed it when he said something on the realm of, let's slow things down a little bit. And then he just makes it awkward and uncomfortable. And then she gets really embarrassed and leaves out of the shed. And so she finds the other two girls, and she was like, why didn't you tell me that he was going to reject me? So obviously he said something that was like, I'm not really into this, but in, like, a subtle way. And the blonde hair girl was like, that's what he does. He gets these girls to like them, and then he rejects them. He's never going to go for any of us. So why are you even taking it personal? You know, just being a bitch, right? And then they hear a scream coming from the cornfield. This is the only real time that the cornfield is even being mentioned in the goddamn movie. So they hear a scream coming from the cornfield, and they see a girl come out with a arrow out of her chest, and they're like, oh my God, like really, really fake scared. But the girl is like, the main character girl is like, oh my fucking God, like really scared. They think it's a prank. They think it's a joke. They hear a whistle, and a head goes flying out of the cornfield, and it's the jock dude's head, and they think it's a fake head, and blah, 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 blah. Now, because the girl's dad is a doctor, her first instinct is to, okay, I need to check for her pulse. Because if this is a prank, she's not really dead, so her pulse should still be there. She goes to search for it, I can't find it, and that's when the other two are like, oh my God, she's really fucking dead. And it's just like, bro, what the fuck do you mean? Like, it pisses me off. So everybody who's outside the barn where the party is taking place runs inside. And they literally leave the other three girls, the mean girl, the mixed girl, and the main character, outside of the barn. Everybody else is inside the barn. And then you see a flock of niggas in clown costumes coming out of the cornfield. So now it's like, okay, what the fuck is really going on? So they find the cool dude, they explain to him what happens, they all run back into the shed, and the awkward neighbor guy who escorted her to school on her first day, he pops up out of nowhere with a shotgun and get the blasted. Boom! I said, good! Kill somebody for me, please. I'm sick of this shit. So he gets the blasting, and he blasts one of the clown people. He cocks it back, blasts another one on their hand, and then they all run to the shed. So it's the awkward neighbor guy, the cool guy, the main character, the mixed girl, and the dumb blonde girl. They're all in the shed. And the two girls who are not the main character are doing dumb damsel in distress horror movie bullshit. They're crying uncontrollably. They're inconsolable. They're just, oh my God, we're gonna die. And it's just like, bro, shut the fuck up and focus, please. We do not have time for you to be having a fucking panic attack. Just stay the fuck calm, okay? I know it's hard for you to do, but stay the fuck calm. She's like, oh my God, that was my boyfriend's hair. This is my boyfriend's hair. And it's just like, bro, shut the fuck up. It was pissing me off, like everything that they were doing. So at some point, and this was very subtle, but I kind of like the way they put it in there. So the loner guy and the cool guy used to be really, really good friends. They make that kind of known that they were really good friends, and then one day they just kind of fell out. No one really knows why, but as they got into high school, they just became more and more distant. So the awkward dude is like arguing with the cool dude, and he's just like, you always act like you don't know what you want. Just tell me what you want. And he's like, I don't know what I want. And then the girls put two and two together just by the way that the two of them are communicating with each other. It's like, oh, he's closeted. He's gay. He's on the DL. He's on the down low. And he might have had some type of relationship romantically with his friend. And his friend was, living in his truth, and he knew who he was and what he liked and what he wanted. But the other guy was like, but this isn't the time to really dive into that. So we got to put a pin in this conversation and come back to it. So, and also the loner dude is like a hunter. So he spends a lot of time outside. That's why he carries a shotgun with him. And that's why he's always prepared, like survival skill level type shit. So he's like, okay, we're gonna get into this hole right here. This grate is exhaust. When they slaughter animals, they run it through this pipe. We can go outside. And they were like, but there's clowns everywhere. They'll be able to, pick us off if we do that. And he was like, not if we can lure them in here first, and then I'll make a trap for them. So he starts putting together all these buckets of like kerosene and anything explosive, and just like tying it to like a little wagon in the shed. They all crawl into the hole. He's like, I'm right behind you, just keep going. He lights it, he pushes it toward the doors. The clowns are still actively trying to break into the shed, but once they get in, the bomb goes off and it explodes. No one dies from this explosion, but you never see the loner kid again. And the cool kid is like, oh my God, where is he? He's in there. We gotta go back and get him. And I feel like it was in that moment where he came to that realization, like, oh my God, I love this guy. You know what I mean? He had that moment of realization, but they run off. They're like, we can't stay here, we gotta go. So they take off through the cornfields. They're like, what are we going to do? We don't have any cell service. Oh, there's a family house like less than a mile from here. We can get in there, use their landline phone, call for help. Okay, so that's where they're going, is to that family's house. And then the girl was like, it's the middle of the night and we're going to the cornfield. And it's like, bro, shut the fuck up and get the marching before your ass gets stuck. And it just kept pissing me off. So they leave the barn where the party was taking place, which, by the way, the entire town's teenage population is still inside of that barn. Obviously, they're not partying anymore because they're hearing gunshots and chainsaws and explosions and shit. But everyone else is still inside of that barn where the party was taking place. And they just leave. So there's a barn full of teenagers, and then these these four idiots about to go and get lost in the woods somewhere. But okay. Another thing that I didn't really like, but it is what it is. So they get them running through the cornfields and they reach the road that they took to get there. Sure the fuck enough, here comes a car. Okay, great, we'll wave them down, we'll ask for help. Who's in the car but the motherfucking police officers who arrested them at the parade? He was one of the main ones who told the new girl to stay away from that group because they're trouble. And now every time he sees all of them together, he assumes that she's just part of the pack. And they are the delinquents of this town, so they're always getting into trouble. He sees the cool dude with the shotgun. Put the shotgun down, you're under arrest. He arrests the dude. The girls are trying to tell him, please listen to us. There's danger. There's people killing people at the barn, at the thing. He doesn't believe them though, because again, this could just be another prank video. Like, I don't know if you're being serious or not. Y'all causing us enough trouble in the past couple of days. I'm not trying to hear that shit. And then the girls are like, okay, well, arrest us too. Take us. We can just get us out of here. Nope. I'm just taking him. Y'all have a good night. Doing whatever the fuck I was doing before I got here. Which, red flag number 3, I think at this point, why did he only get arrested and not the girls as well? Okay, so they go back running through the cornfield. This light-skinned girl, who's really pissing me off at this point, is like, I'm not going back in the cornfield. I'm gonna stay here and wait for help. And it's just like, bitch, if you want to stay here and die, then by all fucking means, stay here and die. So she eventually runs back into the cornfield with the other 2 girls, and she is just a blubbering mess. When I say over-exaggerated, I mean to a fucking T. It couldn't be any more over-exaggerated than this shit. So, and this is the part that really chapped my cheeks. It really tickled my tits here. They're in the cornfield. It's the blonde girl in the middle. You got the light-skinned girl on one side and the new girl on the other side. The light-skinned girl is crying. Unconsolably, uncontrollably crying. So the blonde girl covers her mouth. And then the blonde girl get the breathing real hard. She hyperventilating. So the new girl covers her mouth. And she's just whimpering and kind of shaking and keeping herself kind of together. And then her mouth gets covered by a nigga in a clown costume. And I said, what kind of Tom and Jerry ass shit is this? Who the fuck wrote that in to do that? And it made me so mad that I had no choice but to laugh out loud because I couldn't believe that was actually a thing that was going on. So they run. They take the fuck off. It's like 3 other clowns in the cornfield at this point chasing them down. And of course, because it's a cliche-ass slasher flick, the light-skinned girl gets killed next. She gets a chainsaw right through the gun, ram up through it. I'm just like, good. I'm tired of her stupid ass anyway. Like, it gets to the point where it turns the characters into such insufferable idiots that you want them to die. So the only reason at this point why we're even still watching the fucking movie is to watch these characters die because we hate them that badly. And there's no real character development for any of the characters other than the cool guy and the new girl and her father. Her father has a great character development, but it's just like everyone else is so insufferably annoying and so stupid. I just couldn't wait for them to die. So they get to the house, the neighbor's house. Nobody's there to go inside. They see somebody sitting at a chair with a clown costume on, but their face is like boiled and burned on one side, like they've been poured with acid. And they assume that person is dead, which obviously anybody would. So they run around the house trying to find a landline. They get upstairs and they get to a bedroom and they see on the wall all of their pictures, minus the new girl, but all of the kids in the cool group, their pictures are hanging up on walls along with a bunch of news articles about like the hobo parade and a bunch of other shit, delinquent whatever's, just a bunch of random clippings and news articles. They find the phone line is dead, obviously. They get back downstairs, the person who's sitting in the chair in the clown costume is gone. They come out with like the giant fork that the farmers use to bale hay. They come out with one of them and he stabs the blonde girl in the stomach. And she is like, oh my God, he just stabbed me. And then the new girl takes something and whacks him in the head with it. And he gets the, and then she's like, I gotta take this out of you, which your dad is a doctor. You should know not to do that. Don't take the fucking thing out because that'll cause you to bleed out some more. It's too late though, she's already bleeding, she's already dying. She takes the pitchfork though and she stabs the clown in the stomach with it. And then slams him to the ground right next to the blonde girl. Both of them died. And it was like a really corny, like, last lifeline that she said here. I can't remember what it was, but it was bad. It was bad. So meanwhile, while all of this is happening, remember, she snuck out of the house. So while all of this is happening, the dad wakes up, realizes she's not there, and goes out on the town to look for her. He sees that his office had been broken into because one of the clowns who got shot by the shotgun at the barn ran there for help, because they knew that his daughter was there and that he was going to get up and look for her and that they were just going to wait for him to get there. So all the people in the clown costumes have like walkie-talkies. So 2 of the clowns, one who's injured and one who's not, is in the doctor's office and he's like, save him or your daughter dies type shit. So he's doing everything he can to patch his nigga hand up. His hand is gone. There's no hand. He's just trying to patch it up and make sure he doesn't die. But he's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on because they're not saying anything, obviously. And he can hear the walkie-talkie going off, but he can't really hear what they're saying. So at one point, he distracts the clown that's not getting stitched up. I need more fluids, or he's going to bleed out. He's going to die. I need you to grab this. I need you to grab that. He grabs it, sneaks the knife away that he had on the table to threaten him. When he turns back around, BAM! Right in the motherfucking neck. He's supposed to. So he stabs the clown in the neck. He tries to take the masks off, but he can't. He just ends up getting the walkie-talkie. So both of those clowns are dead. and he hears on the walkie-talkie, where they're going, what the plan is, whoop-de-whoop. So he gets in his car, he just starts driving to the next location. Oh, we've narrowed down the girl, she's killed everybody, and blah, blah, blah. So she's the last one left. So they've narrowed her down, and they're trying to find out where she is. So he's going there. So she gets out of the neighbor's house. The girl gets out of the neighbor's house, and she finds a car. And of course, it's a stick shift, and she can't drive a stick shift. So she's basically just stuck there. And then the clowns, of course, surround her. They break the windows. They drag her out. They knock her unconscious, and then they take her to the cornmeal factory. Now, this is the part where things kind of start to get a little good, because we get the motive, if you will. Now, most motives in slasher flicks are like revenge-based or rage-based, or, something along those lines. So you're expecting that when the motive is revealed. And plot twist, quote unquote, not really a plot twist, but plot twist, like 10% of the adults that live in this town are in like a killer clown cult, where every decade or so they get together and they weed the bad vegetation out of their town to keep it pure and clean and simple. So the first time they did this was back in the 30s, where the cornmeal was first established, and like the head honcho's family kind of started doing this. That was the hobo parade, where it was a bunch of homeless people who caught the train and just started, leaving their stench and smell behind. They was like infesting the whole town. So they dressed up as these clown people to kill off the hobos. And then it was another reign of I think it was pot smokers, like the reggae crowd in like the 90s, right? So they flushed them out. They killed them all too. And now this generation, the 2020 generation, it's these young, stupid teenagers with their internet and technology and phones causing all types of havoc and ruining everything for everybody. So that's their goal, is to just clean out anyone who does not fit that traditional standard of this small ass town that has been living in the fucking dark ages for the past 17 generations or some shit. And that is their whole motive, is y'all are ruining this town. We want things to be like how they were. We're going to kill you in order to make that happen. We've been doing it for decades, for centuries now. No one's going to stop us. Surprise, surprise, the head honcho is the cool guy's father, whose grandfather started the town and the cornmeal in the first place. And they got my nigga on a rope, on a fucking noose, hanging above the factory, inside the building. He's gagged and everything. And then you got the sheriff. You got a couple of people who work in the town. You got the mean ass teacher. You got a bunch of people who you already expect to just be a part of this cult in the factory with the dude's dad, who's in like this fucking Terrifier ass, Joker ass makeup. He's not even wearing the clown costume. He's just like a fucking ringleader with top hat and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, the motive I can understand to an extent, sure. Is it stupid? Yes. Is it psychotic? Absolutely. Is it a good motive? Hell no. But it is what it is. They need something, right? So they're about to kill the girl. They're about to kill the guy. That's going to be the last of the tormenting teenagers in this town situation, and everything should go back peachy keen. Okay. The dad busts through the factory, because that's where he heard on the walkie-talkie that they were going to take his daughter. So he busts through, knocks out a couple of people. Some things get, ricocheted, and one of the people in the clown costume gets stabbed in the gut. They die. The sheriff, is trying to kill the girl, but she runs off once the car smashes through the building, and the sheriff runs after her. And he corners her in like a clown room where all the costumes and stuff are. And she takes this little electrical thing that he's been shocking her with, sticks it into his mouth, and electrocutes him from the inside out, and he dies that way. Okay. Meanwhile, my man's is still hanging from this noose in the factory. His dad is like, that's not my son anymore. I've disowned him. There's no way you're any child of mine. Blah, 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 blah. He get the scarf out of his mouth. Fuck you. You're no real dad. How could you do this to everybody? How could you do this to me? Booty, 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 boo. And so at one point it was revealed that the dad was like, people will believe anything that you tell them. All you got to do is give them somebody to believe in and hate mutually. And then it kind of dawned on the son, like, wait a minute, you started that fire in the factory and blamed it on me and my friends so that everybody would hate us, so that this little sick, sadistic, twisted plan of yours can come into full circle. Now that I thought was really, really good little plot twist, because the whole town was like, it was a factory internal fire, and they were just there coincidentally, right place, wrong time type of situation. Everyone blamed them for the fire because a lot of people died, a lot of people lost their jobs, but it was all a technical issue. It was a wiring problem. But the truth was the daddy started the fire, blamed his son for it, and gave everyone in their little clown cult a reason to want them all dead. That's really fucked up, but I could appreciate that. Because at least that made a little bit more sense to me, even though the rest of the fucking motive was stupid, and it all ties into each other. Anyway, I thought that was a nice touch. Now, this is another part that really tickled my tits. When the doctor, the main character's dad, gets out of his car, and he's like, what's going on? He gets like shot with like a shotgun or something in the hand, because he's trying to help get the boy down who's hanging from a fucking noose, and he can't. So the doctor gets shot and he gets pushed out of the way. The guy, the evil guy, the main villain guy, gets into the doctor's car and drives it out of the factory. Of course, it takes him a little minute, but he finally gets the car out and he just drives away. Now, this right here, it didn't dawn on me until after we left the theater that he just fucking leaves. He leaves and we never see him again. What the fuck do you mean? So many people are dead. So many people are dead in the factory, at the barn, at the doctor's office. It's everywhere. There is like 12 dead bodies actively scattered around the small town. And this nigga just leaves. And we never, not even in the increase, there wasn't a post-credit scene, none of that. That nigga is just gone. I said, what the hell? So the cool guy is hanging from the noose. He's choking. He's dying. The girl comes back from killing the sheriff. She sees her dad laying on the floor. She's like, oh my God, we have to get him down. Who comes through but the tall, awkward, lonely loner guy with his shotgun, pop, shoots the rope, he falls. What do you know? The two of them kiss and embrace because they're in love with each other. And my brother was like, I knew that shit was gonna fucking happen. It's gonna make them do some gay shit on camera. I said, as much as I can respect that, now is not the time. But it's also the equivalent to the friends to enemies or enemies to friends trope, where two people hate each other, quote unquote, and throughout the entire movie there's friction, there's tension, there's something going on. And then they reveal that they actually do have feelings for each other, but obviously it's not the right time. And when they both kind of make it out alive, they embrace, they hug, they kiss, they smooch, all that good shit. So now it's the doctor, the main character, the loner kid, and the cool kid. All four of them are still alive, and they leave the factory. We gotta get out of here. There's a little clown car. And why didn't one of the boys drive this fucking car? I don't know. They get in the back seat. The doctor gets in the passenger seat, and the girl gets in the front seat. And it's a fucking stick shift. Dad, I can't drive a stick shift. It's okay. I'm going to show you how to do it. So he gives her this cheap ass, whack ass stick shift lesson. And lo and behold, here comes another fucking clown. It's the teacher with the chainsaw. And oh my God, this pissed me off so badly. The dad is like, ram the shit out of him. And I'm just thinking to myself, bro, what in the fuck is happening? Mind you, the car that they're in is an itty bitty Beetle, right? I'm talking like the Kirby, not the Kirby, but the Herbie fully loaded Beetle. It's an itty bitty ass thing. This nigga got a chainsaw. When they hit him, he burst like a fucking balloon on the windshield. And it was the most over-exaggerated, comical way to die, because you had a chainsaw. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. So we fast forward. I don't know how far we fast forward into the future, because they never say. But keep in mind everything that has happened in the last 3 days. And keep that in mind as I'm about to set up this final scene for you. So they move into this town. They kill Tucker. They kill the cool dude. They kill the girl at the party, the random girl at the party, with the bow sticking out of her, arrow sticking out of her chest. They kill the blonde and the mixed girl. They kill the sheriff. They kill about 3 or 4 other adults who were in this cult. They kill the teacher with the chainsaw. They killed the lady in the factory who had the pierce through her chest. They almost killed the doctor. There's 2 dead bodies at the doctor's office. There's about 5 dead bodies in the factory. The nigga whose family runs the town and runs the factory is gone, leaving his only son to die. I don't know where his wife is, where the mom is in all of this. There's blood everywhere. And we fast forward to some unseen amount of time, and the dad is running for mayor of the city. He's running for fucking office. Like, I don't know. They didn't say, it wasn't like one of those, like, 3 months later, 1 year later, 5 weeks later. It was none of that. It just skips from them running over the teacher and the blood on the windshield. The sun is coming up, so it's like 6 a.m. at this point. And then it's just the next time we see them. The daughter is packing up the stick shift car that he bought her. She's going off to college. The loner kid and the cool kid pull up in their own car. They're together now, apparently. They're a couple. And they're not really lovey-dovey, but you can tell, like, they're together. Like, they're, like, bromancing it up type shit. They give her a farewell present, and everybody says goodbye. And the biggest thing that confused me, though, is why the dad is running for mayor. Because who the fuck is left in the town? Because there were so many dead bodies over the course of like 3 days. We don't know what happened to Tucker's body. We know what happened to the jock kid's head. We don't know what happened to his body. The random girl at the party who died. The 3 adults who got blown to smithereens when the bomb went off in the shed. The nigga whose arm got blasted off and was left to die in the doctor's office. The nigga who got a knife to the neck in the doctor's office. The 3 or 4 dead bodies at the factory. The dead clown at the house. The dead girl at the house. The dead girl in the field. And this nigga came out of the nigga came out of that with his blood-coated daughter and her 2 gay best friends in the back seat of a clown car. Everyone's covered in blood. And this nigga is running for mayor? Who the fuck is left? Who wasn't in the clown costume? Because it was at least a dozen adults in these clown costumes that came out of the cornfield initially at the party. And like half of them died. So the other half, what did they do? They just stay to kill the other teenagers in the park? I don't know. And they never said, and it's never confirmed. I have no idea what happened to these people. And then to tie it all up with a nice pretty fucking bow, she's driving off through the cornfield. And what does she see on her back seat but the fucking little clown Jack-in-the-Box that wasn't there at first but is there now? She grabs it, she looks at it, she tosses it out the window. And of course it lands right side up and then pops open one last time for one final jump scare of the movie. And the movie just fucking ends. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, bro, what the fuck did I just watch? I committed a strong like hour and a half to watching this dumpster fire of a cliche ass slasher flick, and I had so many questions. I still have so many fucking questions. What happened to the guy? He just drove off in the doctor's car, so he could have reported that car stolen, and he just fucking left. He just fucking left with all these dead fucking bodies. Like what the fuck happens now? And then the doctor is running for fucking office. You were just seen leaving a factory building where there are 5 dead bodies. What are you doing? And I just couldn't. It was so, and I understand now that movie came out last weekend and nobody is really talking about it. I am waiting for somebody, anybody. I follow a lot of horror enthusiasts on TikTok and on Instagram. They all have their own separate podcasts where they do what I do, but with exclusively horror movies. I'm waiting for one of these motherfuckers to say something, anything about this movie and answer these burning questions because I have no idea. I can't make it make sense because it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. Now again, with all of that being said, it wasn't a terrible movie. I didn't hate it. I would never talk. That's a lie. I'm talking shit about it right now. I would never speak on it in the sense where it's insufferable, because I would definitely go and watch it again, but I would watch it high as shit and I would be laughing my ass off because it's so unconventional. It's so unbelievable. Not in a good way. And are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious right now? And I have so many fucking questions. I have so many questions. I don't know who wrote this movie. I don't know who put their money into it. I don't know none of that shit. But what I do know is that it could have been better. It had a lot of potential to be great. Even the title is Clown in a Cornfield, singular, when there were multiple clowns in the cornfield. So it should have been plural. And maybe that was a way to throw the audience off, because they didn't want you to know that it was 17 of these motherfuckers killing teenagers. But I digress. But anyway, that was Clown in a Cornfield. I saw it last weekend. I have a strong gut feeling that this is one of those movies that kind of just comes and goes. Because every year you get a couple of movies that just kind of come and go. Whether they're comedies, horror, action, cartoon, whatever. They hit a certain target audience very, very well. And that group is very, very small. But they're a very, very dedicated, passionate group. And they adore whatever that project is. Whatever it is, there's a small group of people who are like, oh my God, I love this movie. It was the best movie I've seen all year. Probably adding it to my top 10 or some dumb shit like that. This is that movie to somebody. Not to me. I wouldn't add this to my top 3. I wouldn't add this to my top... No, I'm going in the wrong direction. I wouldn't add this to my top 20. I don't even have a top 20, but I wouldn't add this movie to it. I would add it to my top 20 funny movies. Horror movies, absolutely not. But again, I'm not a horror movie fanatic. I usually steer clear of the slashes. I'm not a big fan of gore. I'm not a big fan of a lot of blood, decapitation, and dismemberment, and torture. I don't like that shit. It makes my stomach churn and I don't like it. With that being said, though, if I'm going to watch it, I want it to traumatize me. I want it to scare the shit out of me. I want to be thinking about every gory, bloody scene for at least a half hour after I've already finished the entire movie. And then maybe have a nightmare about it that same night. And in the morning, I'm still thinking about it. I want it to ruin my life. I want it to fuck me up. This movie didn't do that. It made me fucking lol. And I couldn't take it seriously, not even for a second. But with that being said, I would definitely go see it again. I don't know what that says about me, but you can take that how you want to. But anyway, that was my breakdown discussion of corn. It was corny, all right. This whack. It's whole movie. It should have just called a cornball, because that's what the fucking thing was. It was a fucking cornball. Everybody in it just pissed me off, and it just... I'm sorry. That was my in-depth discussion of Clown in a Cornfield. I want to thank those who decided to stop in today to listen to me rant and rave about this nonsense and this bullshit. And, as always, until next time, I will speak to you all later.